Alright, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I just want to talk to you simply about an alternative to the Cineback. If you don't know what the Cineback is, it's something that Caleb Pike created with Camera Foundry, and it is an awesome piece of tech. Don't get me wrong, I have a couple friends who have bought the thing and they really love it. There's a ton of mounting points and a ton of cool things you can do with it. For some people, it might be a little too much. So for me personally, what I like is I like the ability to take the camera and go really small with it. There's a lot of other cameras out there like the FX6, FX9, which I own, and a plethora of other cameras that are more for cinema cameras. This is a cool thing that he did in order to turn this camera into more of a cinema camera and get all of those mounting points and everything. And if you check out his latest video, he did this huge Franken rig, and I call it that, but like it's pretty cool. Like he added a lot of stuff to it that you would need if you were doing a higher end production like that. But for mine, what I really love about the FX3 and the reason I bought the FX3 is because I could be really small and nimble with it. I have my FX9 and that's going to be my big interview heavy camera, and the FX3 is always going to be my B cam. And also I want to take this thing and be able to run and gun with it. There's a reason it's small and nimble, and I want to keep it that way. So I did a really short build on some things that you can just buy right off the shelf like anything else. I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy Caleb's Cineback. It's a way cleaner design, let me tell you that now, but this one is just going to be something that can keep you really nimble but also give you all of that battery power and ports that you need. So let's jump right into what you need in order to build this. And there's going to be some things that I leave out, and that's okay, we can talk about that stuff, but I'm just showing you what works best for me and what I need on the shoots that I'm doing. So starting out, let's look at the base build that we're going to need here. So the backbone of this whole kit is going to be the small rig cage. These are pretty inexpensive and easy to pick up, and they did a great job on this design. So as you can see, I just have it pre-installed. I don't need to show you how to install this thing because, hey, we kind of all know how to do that. And if you're at this channel, you're just looking for alternatives. And the next thing you'll need is this V-mount attachment that Small Rig makes. They make it for a lot of their small mirrorless cameras, so you could probably use it for other cameras, but I use it for the FX3, and I have two of them. I went ahead and pre-installed just a piece of Velcro on there, and you'll see what we'll use that for later. And with the kit comes this NATO Rail. And the NATO Rail is something that you would put on the top of the camera by using those mounting points on the top of the camera. So if you look on the back of this V-mount plate, there are some mounting options. So you just want to mount this actual NATO Rail that they gave you straight to it. Again, I'm using parts that I already had readily available in my kit, and this just came with it, so why not get good use out of it? So screw that thing down pretty tight so it doesn't wobble around on you. And then the next thing I'm going to use is this D-tap hub from Condor Blue. I love this one because it has that voltmeter already built into it, and it's really robust and great, and it has these nice mounting points on the side. So I'm just going to pick that point here and mount it right to the voltmeter. And again, you want to screw this down pretty tight so that you don't get a lot of wiggle room with this. So once you've got that on there, that's great. And then again, like this Velcro, we're going to use this later to kind of tidy everything up. And then this plate that comes with it, when you have the small rig cage, you don't even need this plate. So what we're going to do is just take this plate off, and be careful because the screws, bolts will just fall out of the bottom of it like that, because they're made and designed for the small rig cage. Now what you want to do with this V-mount attachment is you want to loosen this up and slide this back so that you have this space in between here. And then if you look at the bottom, it has that NATO Rail already built into the small rig cage. You can just slide that right into it. And the other thing that's great about this cage is it works with Ronins as well. So you can slide this right onto the Ronin with the cage already attached. Small rig is great. They think of all these little things, which I love. From there you can see now we can just fold it down, make sure we fold our monitor out so that we have access to that, and then it'll basically sit like the Cineback does. It just sits alongside the battery there, And you could do a lot of things by adding padding and other things there like they did, which is great. But honestly, most of the time this setup is put together, it's on a tripod for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put that nano battery on the mount, and then I'm going to take the Condor Blue D-Tap and run it right into the battery. I know there's probably a lot of people out there using small rig batteries and other different types. Just make sure it has a D-Tap out. Honestly, these are some older batteries. They're great. I love them. But if I had the option to have some of those other batteries from small rig, I probably would go that route now, but I have like 4 of these. Then the next thing you can do is put your top handle back on. And I'm just using the standard top handle that came with the camera, but I also have that attachment from small rig to extend the handle, give me more mounting points, and give you that nice monitor mount at the top. It also helps protect the audio ports at the top, because that, as we all know, is pretty flimsy. So again, like, I don't plan on doing a lot of robust shooting with this setup. What I end up using it for is more of just a tripod setup. And then the next thing you have is you're gonna wanna power the camera itself. So I use this small rig D-Tap to USB-C, and you'll see later in the video why I love this so much. I already have a battery installed, and I know you can use dummy batteries to D-Tap, which I have a few of those as well. So then you're just gonna plug in your USB-C right here, put your monitor back, tuck your cables in there, and then you're gonna plug right into your D-Tap port here. Tuck your cables back for now. And honestly, that right there is pretty ready to go. I mean, yeah, you're using your standard battery, but this is gonna give you so much more runtime on this camera setup. And the great thing about it is you can just put it right on a tripod. You really don't need a whole lot of other stuff added to this. That's why, as cool as I think the Cineback is, I honestly don't use it for a lot of the stuff that I do. So after that, you can just throw on your lens of choice. So I just threw the 24-70 on here just for demonstration purposes. But you can see that's a pretty nice setup, and you still have access to all the buttons and everything like that, and you still see your monitor. You can swing your monitor out, you could keep it to the side like that, or you can add something like this, like a Shinobi 5-inch monitor to the top if you'd like. And the great thing about that is you can just add another dummy battery to D-Tap. For this video, I'm not going to hook that monitor up. I just wanted to show that those are an option. And then here's just another monitor mount from small rig that will just slide right onto the front of the handle. And you can lock that down in there, and it fits just great on there. I don't use a monitor honestly that often. I know that there's a lot of great things that monitors offer and a bigger image and all of that, but a lot of times I have a director's monitor out, or this camera is so small in run and gun that I want to be able to keep it small in run and gun. So as you can see there, with the USB-C in there, you get a little light showing that the battery is charging and that it's active. But this is one of the great things about this setup too, is you can pop that off. You can take off your monitor if you had your monitor set up, and then you just pop this bottom plate and just slide the FX3 off. And now you're ready to go with a very small run and gun setup. And there's shoots all the time where I'm shooting just like this because I need to keep it small and nimble, and the active stabilization is so good in this camera that I don't sometimes even need a Ronin. I can just do a lot of handheld shots and get a lot of amazing quick stuff. The great thing about your setup that you left behind with the battery is you just mount that to a tripod plate and you keep that whole setup on your tripod. So if you have to come back to do interviews or anything like that, you can just pop the camera right back on there, plug in the USB-C, and you're ready to go. I have to be honest, like most of the long run times that I have are going to be on interviews. So this is a great option to just leave on the tripod, especially if I can't hook up to AC power. Another option is when you're doing a lot of live streams, sometimes you're running SDI to the camera. And as we know, there's no SDI out, but what you can use are these bidirectional SDI HDMI converters. You can run the HDMI into that and then run to an SDI. And you can just use another one of these USB-C to D-tap and plug this right in to this adapter. And then you can just take this, plug it right into your Condor Blue D-tap, and then you can put this right on the camera using that cold shoe that's part of the small rig cage. Yes, this gets a little busy, but if you're doing live stream and you just have the camera set up in one spot and you're not moving it a lot, this works just fine. So again, this is a great alternative to using the Cineback, which is a great piece of equipment, and I linked down below exactly where you can go and get that. He actually just made a mount where you could mount that SDI to HDMI converter, that bidirectional converter, right to the Cineback, and it's a pretty cool little 3D printed mount, so you might want to look into that as well. But if you're looking to be quick and nimble and cheaper, you can go this route. And is it overall cheaper? Probably not in the end when you're buying all this stuff, but they are useful parts and you can use them across many different camera systems, which I do. I use the D-tap splitter a lot on a lot of the other camera setups that I have, and I use the monitor mounts on most of the other cameras that I have as well. So in the end, I just want to say be nice, be kind to each other, and put your phone down and be somebody.